Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today especially we will discuss about very brief topic, especially in engineering chemistry. In engineering first year student, they need to do in engineering chemistry some lab experiments. So we will discuss very briefly some lab experiment, what are the experiments we need to do in engineering first year, especially in engineering students. So now you can see the first one slide. So engineering chemistry labs, they have the list of experiments. The total is a 14 list of experiment. We will see the brief. So list of experiment, the first one is the determination of total hardness of water by complexometric method using EDTA. That is the first one experiment. And second one is the determination of chloride content of water by using as a argentometry method. And third one is the estimation of hydrochloric acid by conductometric titration. And fourth one, estimation of acetic acid by conductometric titration. And estimation of HCl by potentiometric titration. And sixth one, estimation of iron like Fe+2 by the potentiometric using KMnO4. And seventh one experiment is determination of rate constant of acid catalyzed hydrolysis of methyl acetate. And eighth one is the synthesis of aspirin and paracetamol. They need to understand what is the synthesis methods also. And ninth one, the thin layer chromatography calculation of RF values, examples I'm ortho or para nitrophenols. And 10th one experiment is the determination of acid value of coconut oil. And 11th one is verification of Friedrich adsorption, isotherm adsorption of acetic acid on charcoal. 12th one, determination of viscosity of castor oil and groundnut oil by using Ostwald viscometer. And 11th one, determination of partition coefficient of acetic acid between N-butanol and water. And 14th one, determination of surface tension of a given liquid using staglometer. So these are the 14 very important for the engineering chemistry lab experiment. And you can see the behind the syllabus also, some colleges like deemed universities or university, they are giving the more training about the engineering chemistry lab. You can see the organic synthesis, how to synthesize the aspirin and para-bromoacetylene and 2,4,6 nitro-bromobenzene. And fourth one is meta-nitroaniline and 2,4,dihydroxyacetophenone. And sixth one, hippuric acid. First one is the identification of organic compound, systematic qualitative analysis. And second one is the identification of unknown organic compounds from their IR, UV, proton NMR and mass spectroscopy. And third one, synthesis of organic molecules, isolation of natural products and TLC, separation and identification of organic compounds and column chromatography. And fifth one is the spectroscopy identification of organic compounds and practice the chemistry, some few software programs. And last one is the synthesis and analysis of drugs. These are the behind the syllabus. Nowadays few colleges are giving more priority in the engineering chemistry lab experiments. Now you can see the first one experiment, the determination of total hardness of water by complexometric method using EDTA. So this is the one of the very good experiment for especially in engineering student. They need to understand what is the determination of hardness of water. So basically what is hardness of water means the minerals are present in that, like calcium or magnesium in the water, simply will call hardness of water. So again this hardness of water you can remove by the once the hardness of water will form, it is no need to use for drinking, bathing, washing or some any scaling forming in boiler. So the idea is how to remove this hardness of water like magnesium and calcium that they can use for the boiling of water. So again the hardness of water, there are two types. One is the hardness of temporary hardness of water. Second one is the permanent hardness of water. So temporary hardness of water means the calcium, magnesium minerals are present. That is called simply calcium, magnesium. That is called temporary hardness of water. So then what is the different from the temporary to permanent hardness of water? So permanent hardness of water means it having the chloride and sulfide ions of calcium, magnesium ions. So the simple idea is temporary hardness of water means calcium and magnesium. And what is the permanent hardness of water means they add the excess chloride and sulfides of the calcium magnesium ion. So this cannot be removed by simply boiling method. So you can once you plan to do this estimation of water, hardness of water, they require few of the water samples, burettes and glass funnels, pipettes like in flask dropper and measuring cylinder. You can need to take off this before start the experiment. Reagent mostly they are using EDTA, ureochrome black tea, and ammonium chloride, ammonia buffer, magnesium carbonate, and 90% of ethyl alcohol and distilled water. These are the reagents to do the determination of hardness of water. So these yield from understood what hardness of water. Then you can see few of the reagent we need to prepare before we are going to plan the this experiment. So EDTA solution you can take to 4 grams of EDTA and add 0.1 grams of magnesium bicarbonate, and here is given the some reagent preparation methods. According to you will prepare like that, and you can see the procedure to use this burette fill with EDTA and then 0 level, then take the 50 ml of sample in water flask, and if sample having the high calcium content, then take some diluted of the 50 ml and add the 1 ml of ammonium buffer. Then you start the drop by drop, then you will add the drop like indicators drops, simply we will call indicator drops. So ureochrome black tea indicator one of the drops. So they finally they will change in the color, turn into that repeating adding by drop of EDTA, you change the red to blue color. So that is simply we will call as the end point of this experiment. So this is the table you can find out from the titration of once using the samples, and you can see this calculation. You can do the repeating in 3-4 times. You can see the water sample you can take 50 ml and initial value and final value and ml of the EDTA how much is consuming in the conical flask. So this is you can find out and this is the observation. The color of soluble dissolved water or RO water instantly change into the blue, or while tap water or pond water turned into the wine red when the ureochrome black tea was added. So therefore after turn blue, then the titrated against EDTA solution. So the result is collection of water sample contains the total hardness is gold is a ppm, then permanent water, then temporary hardness of water you can measure in ppm level. So you can use this formula, you can find out the water determination of temporary and permanent hardness of water to given the sample like water solution. So this is the very important equation of calculation of formula, and you can see the example of so how they did, and you will got the 30 ppm of value. So now you can move into the next one experiment is how to find the chloride ions in water. So this is the determination of chloride of water by Conductometry. So background of this study is very important. See, water is one of the vital natural resource essential for the life of human development. So it is quality directly impact of public health, economic stability, and the environmental sustainability. So many urban areas ensuring the safe and clean drinking water has become increasing important due to rising the population growth. So industrialization and the agriculture expansion, chlorides are naturally occurring ions in water that while they are not typically harmful, but small quantities but have an effect if its concentration exceed 250 ppm. So elevated the chloride levels in drinking water can affect its taste or corrosiveness and the certain case. So pose this health risk, and especially in people who pre-existing condition like hypertension. So these kind of the exhaustometry methods are used to widely used for the titrometric techniques that provide and the accurate of the reliability means of the determining the chloride ions in water. These methods involves the titration of chloride ion with silver nitrate and forming the precipitation of silver chloride. So the end point of the titration is detected by the use of suitable indicator. So you can use, and this is the chemicals are required. You can see these chemicals what are the required, and you can see this is the operators who need to do the chloride identification of in given water molecules, like the solutions and reagents, and you can see the standardization of silver nitrate and determination of chloride concentration in the water sample. So what are the water sample? Then you can see estimation of hydrochloric acid by conductometric titration. So the third one experiment is the estimation of hydrochloric acid by conductometric titration. Objective, after performing this experiment, we will able to see this discussion how the conductance change with the change of the concentration ion during the titration. So the perform of conductometric titration of a strong acid with a strong base. So determine the equivalence point of the titration by plotting the titration curve using conductance value and the amount of the base added during titration. So estimation of strength of the given solution of a strong acid and state the advantage conductometric titration and the practice the precautions while performing the conductometric titration experiment. Then you can see the principle. What are the principle of conductometric titration? So this is very important. The principle of conductometric titration is based on the fact of during the titration. So one of the ions is replaced by the others. So inversely, these are two ions differs from ion conductivity with the result of conductivity of the solution varies during the occurs of the course of the titration. So equivalence point may be located in graphically by plotting of the change in the conductance in function of the value of titrant is added. So these are the some principles to do the conductometric titration, and this is the one of the spectroscopic methods lab how to do this conductometric titration to find out the conductance of in water. Then you can see the titrant curve of the strong acid and the strong base. Suppose you can see best example of strong acid is hydrochloric acid and strong base is the sodium hydroxide NaOH. So you can see this conductance versus the in sodium hydroxide. So this is the picture you can find out the conductance of the given the solution. Then what are the requirements of the for doing to this experiment? You can see the conductometer and the conductance cells and the burette, pipettes, beakers and the standard flask and the grass rod and the burette stand with clamp and chemicals hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide. Solutions provide of 0.01 molar of sodium hydroxide solution which was standardized with the standard oxalic acid and the 0.01 molars of HCl solution. So procedure, take 30 like hydrochloric acid or 0.01 solution and the 100 centimeters cubes beakers like the conductance of this cell. So take the sodium hydroxide solution in a burette and you do this as given the procedure, find out this conductance of. This is the table to write this value of sodium hydroxide and the conductance in table you can fill it. So this is the formula of calculation of spectroscopic method, the estimation of strength of the given HCl solution and molarity of standard sodium hydroxide in moles per inverse. This is that calculation parts you can find out, and these are the result you can molarity of hydrochloric acid to find out this concentration. This is the precautions before we are going to the do the conduction. These points are very important, these precautions. After switching that instrument conductometer, it should be allowed to the stabilize prior starting the experiment. So the conductance cell must always be dipped either in solution or in distilled water. So the platinum electrode of the conductance cell must be completely immersed in the solution during the measurement of conductance. So these should be in no air bubbles between the two electrodes. So the titrant must be at least 10 times is more concentration than the analytes. So this is that one of the result you can see find out. And next one you can see this is the determination of concentration of KMnO4. So how to determine the concentration of KMnO4? So to determine the strength of given KMnO4 solution in the standard oxalic acid solution in materials, these are required. So electronic balance, distilled water and dilute H2SO4, test tubes, weighing bottle and potassium permanganate and 250 ml conical flask and triploid flask. So these are the triploid flask. Then one is the spatula we need, and then oxalic acid, 250 ml of beaker and 250 ml of standard flask and white tails like Bunsen burner, and you can see 50 ml of burettes, funnel, glass rod, wire and 250 ml of pipettes and burette stand. So you can see this is the real lab procedure how to do this kind of standard preparation of standard solution of oxalic acid in 250 ml and 0.1 molarity. This is the points we need to follow, and this is the determination strength of this compound. And you can see this is the observation table, and this is our real labs, and this is another one EMF how to find out. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel. Further more details about to our YouTube channel upgrading.